Can you believe it? 97 hours, actually 97 plus hours of fasting in this week's fast. What an amazing journey I've had over the course of the last 3 or 4 days. And it's been an interesting process. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to put their diabetes in remission, who want to improve their metabolic health. In fact, who want to reverse their diabetes. That's right, I said reverse. And that's what we've been doing here on the channel. Also, if you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we're happy that you're here. If you have questions as we go throughout the episode to show tonight, go ahead and put those in the chat with a Q in front of it because I'd love to get to those questions and answer them for you. Hey, I am in the process of doing a diabetes reversal. That's what we're doing. That's the journey that we've been on. New year, new you process, the journey, the pathway. And as a part of that, we've been doing fasting. And so I've been doing a 72-hour fast once a week. We'll talk more about that here in just a minute. But this week, I've done a 97. My plan was a 96 plus hours, so 97 right now. We were coming off the heels of a holiday, and I wanted to jumpstart my metabolism again and get back to my non-holiday eating plan. And that's what you're seeing me do tonight. And I've got all around me, I've got some food that we're going to be looking at. If you saw the ad, I've got a couple of plates, I've got a bowl, I've got a nice little dish right here. And we're going to be taking a look at that, and you're going to help me. Because what we're going to do is I'm going to show you all the things I have, and you're going to pick what is the thing that you want me to eat first as we move throughout the episode. What I want to do is, well, I'll explain that in just a minute. I just want to welcome everyone who's out there, whatever platform you're joining us from, whether it is Twitch, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. Welcome to the show and welcome to our amazing community. So the first thing that you want to know, if you're guessing, if you've not been here before, or if it's been a while, is what are we doing and what are you talking about 97 hours of fasting? Well, one of the most devastating diseases we have that is known to us at this point is diabetes. Around the world, around the globe, there are over 500 million people that have diabetes and an additional 500 plus million that are pre-diabetic. So we're talking about 1 billion people on the planet that suffer from these two disease processes, not to mention all the other metabolic syndrome diseases or associated illnesses that people will run into. And so every week, we've been doing a 72-hour fast. We'll explain where that fits into the global scheme of trying to reverse our diabetes, improve our metabolic health, and to be generally more healthy. That's what we've been doing here on the show, here on the channel, and we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Let me hop over. I do see some of our community members that are out there, so let me say hello to you. Let's see. We've got Jion is saying, hi, Jennifer. Hey, Jion, how are you doing? What time is it, by the way, over there in Korea? And Steve is saying hello to Jennifer. Jion is saying, hi, Steve. Hi, Jion. Hello, Jennifer. Hi, Jion. Jion say, hi, doctor. Great to see you again. Yes, thank you. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be seen. Jion says, Steve, I just ate jelly. I think I have some sugar addiction. What about you? Do you have it? I think, Gian, we all have some sugar addiction, right? We all have some of that going on right now. Gemma says, hey, Gian and Steve. And hey, David, how you doing, man? David Hunt, everybody. The master musician is in the house. That's right. We live, man. We live. Glad to see you here. Glad to see you in this space right now. Gian is saying hi. Jennifer says, hey, David, and welcome. Yeah, if you guys have not been over to David Hunt's channel, he is an amazing musician, and you want to get over there and take a listen to him. Steve said, Gian, we don't do any sugar. So Steve has been on a trek, y'all. And Steve, you're going to have to share that with us when we have our community meetup. By the way, that's coming up on the 19th for everybody if you've not done that yet, if you've not signed up. Steve says, I love it, but can't have it. I hear it. I hear it. Jion says, amazing. David Hunt is saying new for December. All right, let's give you a hand clap on some music, David. Welcome to the space. Jennifer said, I started a fast late yesterday afternoon after 36 hours in. Okay, so good, Jennifer. Thanks for letting us know. Congratulations. Yeah, I remember you said on the show yesterday that you had done a fast and you had broken the fast and you were going to restart it today. So I'm glad that you are there. Steve said my blood sugar would go over 300 if I ate sugar. Steve, I get you. And you guys remember some of the blood sugars that I showed right around Thanksgiving as we were getting into my Thanksgiving meal. They didn't get quite up to 300. I think 279 was as high as they got. Jion said, I want to overcome sugar and carb addiction, but difficult all my life. Yeah, it is a challenge for lots of us. Remember those triggers, right? The heat model: habits, emotions, access, and taste. And so as we are moving through the space, those are the things that we continually bring to mind, continue to practice, right? How do we deal with them? And I often tell people that I don't necessarily want you to fight the sugar. I want you to fight the thing that's driving you to the sugar. What is it that's calling you? What is the habit? What's the emotion? What's the environmental cue? And what is the taste? What's the memory? What's the behavior? What's the calm that the sugar is bringing? Because if we can fix that, well, not necessarily fix it. If we can deal with that, then sugar, not that it goes away, but it doesn't have the same pull on us. Okay? Let's see. Steve says, Jennifer, you are the champ. Yes, she is. Gion, a heart attack got me off of sugar. Steve, oh wow, thank you for sharing that, man. Yeah, it's a big thing. It's a big thing for a lot of people. Gion said, oh, and Steve, let's see, Dave. Dave said, I might need to do that, Doc. My cholesterol is sky high, so I need to get it down. Would fasting help? Wow. So Steve, David, I'm grabbing onto that question and I'm going to hold it. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Okay. Steve says carbs and sugar cause my problems. Remember, for a lot of people, I don't think we all understand, or we don't do a good job of explaining that sugar, right, is a consequence of another issue, right? So a lot of times we teach diabetes as a sugar issue, but diabetes is really not a sugar issue. The sugar is a result of the diabetic problem. And so this will get into David's question here in a little while, so we'll come back to that in just a minute. Jiyeon said, it is 1 p.m. in Korea. Hey, glad that you are here with us hanging out. David Hunt says, at Jennifer, thanks for the welcome. And Steve says, hello, David. I just finished my lunch. Awesome. Thank you for sharing your lunchtime with us in this space right now. Okay, so let me do some things quickly, because what I want to do is I want to eat. Well, check my blood sugars, check my ketones. You guys are gonna pick what I'm gonna eat, and then we're gonna kind of have some discussion, answer some questions, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna check my blood sugar again, and I'm gonna check my ketones. Okay, so I want to do that in the show. So let me do that really quickly. Let me do a check-in, because once I start eating, then the check-in goes away, right? So once again, what are we doing? We are learning how to set ourselves up for success in our metabolic space. What does that really mean practically? What we're doing is we're talking about how do we reverse diabetes, right? That's the goal. And you heard me at the top of the show. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes. That's what we do on the channel. As a result of treating diabetes, a lot of the metabolic issues that we have also get better. So high blood pressure, high cholesterol, polycystic ovarian syndrome, fatty liver, weight, goes down, right? And you guys have kind of seen the trek here as we've moved through our journey. So what we're doing is we are really treating the prototypical metabolic disease, which is diabetes. But as a result of that, we hit all of those other associated metabolic diseases, so that people who do not have diabetes, if they follow the process, if they are on the path, they get the benefits of the management of diabetes as a side effect. So we could easily, and you heard me say this, I think last night or one of our other shows, I could easily come on and say, hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. I'm talking to adults who are frustrated with their weight, who want to improve their weight, and we're using fasting as a way to do that. I could come on and say, hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. And I'm talking to adults who have high blood pressure or who have coronary artery disease, who've had heart attacks, who are at risk for further complications and want to reverse that. And we are using fasting as a way to do that. Right? Notice what's happening. The fasting can go through all of those metabolic diseases because it is treating the prototypic disease, and the benefits of it also go across the board. Okay? So as we're working through the New Year, New You journey, we are learning lots of tools, and one of the most powerful tools that we've learned is the power of fasting. And so on a weekly basis, I do a 72-hour fast. And what you're seeing now is one of our check-ins, right? So I do a check-in 3 times a week. We do our show, Dwain Woode MD Live on Monday night at 6 p.m. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I do a check-in where I tell you where I am and what's going on in my health with my blood sugars as I'm going through the fast. And so the shows that we're doing is how to fast successfully, because it is a powerful tool that we are applying to diabetes and all of those metabolic diseases. Okay, so that's what we're doing. And whenever you're doing anything, you want to make sure that you are checking to make sure that you're getting the benefits. And so I tell people, whenever you're making changes, you want to do a check-in, an evaluation, whenever you need to adjust or find out if you need to adjust. And I do a check-in whenever I come on. There are 3 areas that we talk about: how I'm feeling physically, how I'm feeling mentally, and how I'm feeling emotionally. So physically, often, well, let me back up and say what I'm doing. I am feeling rested. So last night I was tired. You guys remember that when I did my check-in. I got a good night's sleep, got up this morning and got through the day, and am feeling energetic right now. Often when people talk about the kind of moving through the quicksand or feeling like they've lost energy or they're exhausted, it is not necessarily the fasting that's doing that, but it is the fact that they didn't rest well. And if you didn't rest well, when you get into the fast, you will feel those fluctuations in energy because the energy is changing. You're moving from burning carbohydrates to burning ketones. And that dip that they feel can sometimes be more pronounced because they're not rested. Okay. The other thing that we'll feel is lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty. We'll feel palpitations. Many of those symptoms come because either we're on medications that are continuing to lower blood sugar, or we're on medications that's lowering our heart rate because you have coronary artery disease or are at risk, or you are dehydrated. The dehydration part, when your volume in your body goes down, the heart still has to get the energy, get the oxygen, get the nutrients to the rest of the cells in the body. And in order to do that, because the volume is lower, it has to speed up, right, to get the same amount of oxygen, the same amount of energy to the cells. And so we feel that as palpitations because the heart's racing or skipping a beat, or we find that it's more noticeable. Okay? So once again, always I talk about checking with your doctor, make sure you're hydrated, make sure you're rested. So physically, that's what's going on with me. Mentally, the mental part comes aligned with the physical. Because if you're tired, you can't really think straight. right? And right now, my thought process is actually pretty good. I'm clear. I don't feel foggy headed. I don't feel fuzzy headed like people will say. Much of that has to do also with resting. Much of that has also to do with adjusting medications. So if you're out there and you're fasting and you find that, hey, I'm starting to feel some of those, you want to make sure you're checking with your doctor and say, hey, do I need to adjust my medications? And then emotionally, I'm excited, right? Because I'm here with you. I'm here in the community. I'm getting ready to eat in a little while. Yes, that's exciting. I'm going to be hanging out with some of my friends here coming up over the next couple of days. And we're going to eat. So you remember that I started my fast early. And I'll make another point of that here in just a minute about why I did that and what you can do as you are moving through the space of fasting. So physically, mentally, and emotionally, I'm doing well right now. Okay? All right. So let's back up and let's take a look at blood sugars. So blood sugars, you'll see that my ketone, my glucose, according to my Freestyle Libre, right now is 65. Down at the near the middle of the bottom part, you'll see that dark gray bar. It's a thick bar. And right below it, you'll see a squiggly red line. So that squiggly red line is my blood sugar. The dashed line that's right above it, right, that it's kind of just running along with it, that's 70. That's a blood sugar of 70. So for most of today, my blood sugar has been running right about 70 or lower. Okay. If I look at my Dexcom, I can actually now, on this one, I can actually see the blood sugars. The other one I couldn't see. But if I put my finger and run it across, you'll see what my blood sugar has been doing. And this one is just slightly higher than the Libre. And you'll see right there, so we're in the 70s. Now look at this right here, right? So this is right about 3 o'clock, right? 3, 4 o'clock. So this is dawn phenomenon. Remember, every day our body releases hormones to wake us up, right? To get us going. And that shows up as an elevated blood sugar. Most people don't see that. Most people don't know that unless they are checking blood sugars at the time or unless they have a continuous monitor on, as I do. And so you'll see that there. So that right there is the dawn phenomenon. And you'll notice that as a result of that, my blood sugar goes up and then it takes a little while to begin coming down again. Right. Actually, right here, this one is probably dawn phenomenon. This is probably toothpaste. Okay. And then starts going down, 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 down to where we are right now in the low 70s and 60s. Okay, so that's what my meters are showing. Let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at that's my continuous monitors. Let's take a look at what these guys are showing. So right now I have a Contour and I have a Keto Mojo. The Keto Mojo gives me both blood sugar and ketones, and the Contour gives me blood sugar. So let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. Get a strip out. Oops, I dropped one. So let's use this one. This is my Contour. And this one is, let me see if I do this one. Okay. Well, let me do this one because I don't want you to see. There's some stuff over here that we're going to be looking at in just a minute. This is my glucose strip. Go ahead and get that in. And then, of course, here are my ketone strip. I'm going to open this one even though I'm not using it quite yet, because I want it to just sit on the side and be ready for me. Now, one of the things that I did, I'm going to move this off for a minute. So in my handy dandy little container where we get our Lancets from, you know, I've been kind of partial to this Lancet. But it's actually been doing a pretty good job for me. But I did say I would bring some others so you could see, or another one at least. We've looked at these before. But this one is another just single stick. This one, like I said before, you screw off the top, right? And so there is the needle, pretty tiny needle, if you can see that right there. This one is the same thing. You screw off the top, and there's a needle there as well. This, and you can't see that probably, this needle is probably a little finer. This one is a little smaller than this one. And the smaller the needles are, believe it or not, the more painful they can be. All right. So I'm gonna go with the bigger one. Let's get this stuff back over here. So I'm gonna go with the bigger one, and basically I find a finger, and I tend to use this finger because it's now it's used to this. It still hurts somewhat, but let's go ahead and I'm gonna just do a stick right here, and ow, 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 ow. And as you see, I'm not using a lancing device. I'm just using the lancet itself. And there is my drop of blood. Let's go ahead and get that going. If you think you know what my ketones are, go ahead and put that in the chat. And this time, I'm actually going to have us all look at the ketones together because now I'm going to eat. And then we're going to come back and we're going to check these blood sugars again. Okay, so 69 is what the keto mode, the contour says. 77 for the keto mojo. And then, of course, on the screen, let me move this up this way. You'll see right there, my glucose, according to my Libre, is 64. So let me get this out, get the ketone strip in there. Okay, and go ahead and get that started. Okay, so what do you think my ketones are going to be? So I am now 97 plus hours. Right, 97 plus hours of fasting. What do you think those ketones are going to be? All right, so while I'm going to put that off to the side because I want to put this stuff on the screen. All right, so there's a salad. Here is some broth that I have. And in the broth, this is a combination of chicken and beef broth that I mixed. And in it, I have some smoked sausage. All right, so you guys are going to tell me what to eat first. Let me get that there, get that over here. And then I have a plate. And on the plate, I have some cheese. And this is cheddar cheese, white cheddar and yellow cheddar. I've got some almonds, and this is half of a serving, so 14 almonds. I've got a handful of sunflower seeds, and then I've got some flank steak that came from, I forgot what restaurant we had lunch from this week, and of course I saved it, and there it is. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and drop in what do you want me to eat first. Well, first put what you think the ketones are going to be, and then drop in what you want me to eat first. So eat salad, do the bone broth. On this, I'm going to eat several things. So if you pick the plate, on the plate, I'm getting a bunch of things off here. So I can either do salad first, the broth first, or the plate, right? So I'm not going to have you pick things on the plate. Just say broth, plate, or salad. And go ahead and drop that in. Okay, while you guys are doing that, let's go ahead. I think I see some other folks who just popped in. David, we're coming back to your question in a minute. It's 1 p.m. Jennifer, hello. Just kind of making sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see, Gian, hello. So Space Body Fitness says hello. Hey, welcome. Welcome, Space Body. Glad to have you here in our space. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the community. And I think you are on Twitch, if I'm correct. So just say yes if you're on Twitch. Says hello, space me. So glad that you're here. I'm using the Dexcom G7. Okay, very good. So that is actually, and let me put that up. That is this guy, right? So Dexcom G7, and this is a G7. Is this a G7 Plus? Yeah, I think this is a G7. Did you just say toothpaste? Yes, I did say toothpaste. Because remember, toothpaste, and we don't think about it, toothpaste has sugar in it. Right? So toothpaste has sugar. Jennifer says, "Yep, the sweetener in toothpaste raises blood sugar level." That is correct. That's correct. And so you guys know I've tried using like some other toothpaste, and it just did not taste. It make my mouth taste funny. So if you have a suggestion of a toothpaste I can use that won't spike my blood sugar, go ahead and put that in the chat also, or send me a message. Let's see. Steve says he thinks my ketones are going to be 3.2. Jiyeon says almonds first, doctor. Steve says broth. Okay, well I got one for almonds, one for the plate, one for broth. So I need a tiebreaker, and nobody said salad so far. Nobody said salad. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to move these back off because I want us to take a look at my ketones, and then I'm going to eat. All right, so go ahead and put your guess in there. So here is my meter, and let's go ahead and pull up. This is the Keto Mojo app. So go ahead and turn the meter on, and we're going to go ahead and sync. I hope I could sync. Let's see. Let's make sure I'm on the right network again. Let's see. Okay, so I'm on the right network, and then let's go back to, so the app, you guys know that my lights back there are on is their Wi-Fi, and so whenever I change them, and if I don't remember to change it back, then when I do when I come to the app, it won't do anything because it's on the wrong Wi-Fi. Okay, so I have, while we were doing that, it's synced. And so let's see, Steve said 3.2, and drum roll please. My ketones are 3.5. So Steve, pretty close, man. You've been on it the last couple of times that we've been on. So glucose of 77, ketones of 3.5. Remember, ketones below 0.5 considered normal, 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. And so right now I'm in that therapeutic part. And I love that because if you look at the screen, you'll see there is my blood sugar and my ketones. The tan line, those are the blood sugars, and the turquoise line, those are the ketones. So as my blood sugar has gone down, ketones have gone up, because remember, when blood sugars are high, insulin is high, and insulin and ketones can't exist together. So as I begin fasting, the blood sugar goes down. As a result of that, the insulin has to go down because there's no point for insulin at that point, or no reason for insulin at that point. And as the insulin goes down, then the ketones go up. And I love the ketones because the ketones are where we're getting all of those benefits, right? So mental clarity because of beta hydroxybutyrate. When we're fasting, when we convert into ketosis, we get autophagy, that cleanup process that the body goes through. We get all of the glycogen that's in our liver at that point is mostly used up, and so the body has to begin cleaning out, getting rid of the rest of that glycogen, and it switches over to burning fat. And when we burn fat, we lose weight, right? See, all of those things begin to cascade. And to go back to, well, let me see what we said about food. Okay, so we got broth, almonds. Okay, so I'm gonna start eating. So I'm gonna go ahead. So we have 2 votes for broth. We got almonds. Anybody else? You want to jump in? Okay, because I'm reaching for the broth. All right, so I'm reaching for the broth. So go ahead and put this over there. Got my broth. Okay, so this is what I'm going to start with, unless I get another vote for something else. All right. So right here you're seeing the first meal after 97, almost 98 hours. And this is going to taste so good, y'all. So while I'm doing this, another thing you can, for you, so I installed a new mic. So right now you're listening to me from a Rode video mic. Okay? And I have a Rode, not a Rode, but a Sennheiser NKE 600 that's mounted around the same space. So I'm going to switch, and you guys can tell me which one sounds better. One of the things that I've been having is a hum in the Sennheiser, so you can tell me whether you hear that. So so right now you're hearing me through the Rode, and I'm switching 5, 4, 3, 2, and now you should be hearing me through the Sennheiser. So tell me what you think about the sound in this one now. And by the way, this is going to be delicious. Oh yeah. So remember my broth. All right, go back here. So remember my broth does have smoked sausage in it. Okay. So it's broth, but it's not just broth. So let's talk a little bit about the fast, right? And breaking the fast. One of the challenges for a lot of us is when we break the fast, if we're not careful, we can begin undoing a lot of the things that happens during the fast. Right? So you've been fasting for a while, and you're getting all the benefits. The weight is better, the blood sugars are better, insulin resistance is better. And so now you come to the end of the fast and you break the fast, and if you're not careful, you will jump and eat highly processed foods, carbs, high sugary foods, and that stimulates the appetite. It stimulates cravings. And so for the next 24 to 36 hours, we're craving stuff, and we end up eating a lot more than we should if we're not careful. Okay? So the things that I had here are things that did not have a whole lot of, they were not highly sugary. Okay? I'm talking when I should be drinking my broth. Now, I don't anticipate a big rise in blood sugar because of this. If I go back to my Yuka app, you guys remember that? Let me pull it up for a minute. And I'll show you the broth that I used. And it is a broth that I had to mix, so you add water to it basically. And so there is some sugar. There are some carbs in it. So let's go ahead and pop that up. And let's pull the app up. And you guys remember this app simply gives you you scan the food, and then it gives you details about the food. For example, Mountain Dew Zero. Let's get rid of that little. Okay. All right, Mountain Dew Zero. So it's gluten-free. It shows you all the additives. It gives you the calories, the saturated fat, the sugars, the sodium, and so forth. And then it also makes recommendations for other things that you could eat that should be healthier. Okay. These are some vegetarian / vegan meat substitutes, right? That's there. And once again, it tells you the protein, the fiber, the calories, the saturated fat, sugars, and then it makes a recommendation for something else that you can have in its place. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to scroll down and try to see where the broth mixture is. And I think this was way back when I first scanned this. So let's see. By the way, this is the sausage that I'm using. Beef smoked sausage. And then that should be coming up here soon, I hope. Okay, here it is. This is the chicken. And you'll see 2 grams of sugar. All right, so 2 grams of sugar in this. And then down below it gives you recommendations. All right, so it's a pretty useful app that you can use in your health journey. This is so good, y'all. So I don't expect to see a big bump in my in my blood sugar as a result of this. Give me just a second. I need to grab a napkin or a piece of paper towel or something. All right, there we are. Okay. All right. So what do you think I should eat next? What do you think I should eat next? So I've got the broth. And then now I have a salad. Or the plate. Some good stuff. So while I'm doing this, in the chat, go ahead and drop in your most recent fast. What did you use to break it? On your most recent fast, what did you use to break the fast? This is some good stuff. So Gion is saying salad. She wants me to eat salad next. Actually, that's what I've been eyeing, but I'm gonna wait for you guys to tell me. So, let's go back here. So David had a question. David said, would fasting help with this? And he's talking about his cholesterol being high. So, one of the things that we don't talk about often, David, to answer that question, is we don't talk about the fact that a big component of cholesterol has to do with sugar. Specifically, it has to do with how the body processes sugar as a result of insulin. When your liver gets full, right? So we're eating whatever food we're eating. A part of that food has sugar in it, carbohydrates. The body breaks down the carbohydrates. It uses some of it for energy, and then it stores it, right? It stores it. When the liver gets full, then the excess has to go somewhere, and the body packages it, and it gets transported through the blood as cholesterol, different types of cholesterol. And so when we measure the blood, we measure cholesterol in the blood, what we're measuring is really the cholesterol that's kind of floating around. Some of it is on its way to get stored. So if we adjust the amount of carbohydrates that's being stored in the liver, right? So we've decreased, right? So we've decreased that. Then the body can store more in the liver. The amount that gets processed and gets transported to storage is decreased. So our cholesterol goes down. So improving insulin resistance helps with cholesterol. So fasting, which is a magnificent way of improving insulin resistance, and a magnificent way of dealing with fat cells, right? Because when we are fasting, we're breaking down fat cells and we are getting rid of cholesterol because the body has to use it, and it uses it up and it burns it, converts it to ketones, so the total cholesterol in our body is actually going down, total fat in our body is going down, right? So fasting is an amazing way to do that. Yes? to answer your question, David. All right. Let's see. So Gion said salad. Steve says salad. It will help your body absorb the sugar and carbs slower. Helps you, keeps your sugar low. So, okay, I like that. I like the rationale. And Jennifer says, so that was Steve. Jennifer says, enjoy your meal. I'm headed to Slumberland. Good night, all. Thanks for hanging out with us, Jennifer. Steve said, I had a ribeye with sauteed vegetables, yogurt bites, and creme brulee, sugar-free. Yeah, creme brulee. I remember that creme brulee, Steve. Thank your wife, by the way, for making it for me. It said macadamians and walnuts. And then Steve is saying good night to Jennifer. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and get over to the salad, because Steve says salad. But this is so good, I can't stop. All right, so let's go over to the salad. And I love the reasoning that Steve gave, that the salad will help to blunt the absorption of some of the carbs, and particularly because let me show you the salad. All right, so here's the salad. Move this off to the side, and so you'll see there I've got cheese. There's some eggs in there, of course, lettuce, tomatoes, and this is chicken, right? Sliced chicken. So let's go ahead and let's dig in. And while I'm doing that, let me see. Let's get back over here. And so we can watch the blood sugar. The blood sugar was 64 before. Now it's going up to about 66, so not a big spike. And we'll see what that does as I eat the salad. No, I actually think that I'll probably get a bigger spike in blood sugar because of the salad. Because the carbs there are more carbs here than was in the bone broth. This is so good. So Steve, how was the ribeye? That's my favorite steak, by the way. Oh, this is a tomahawk. Delicious. So 97 hours. Almost 98. And one of the reasons I did in 98 hours, 97 hours was my plan. Actually 96. Was that we're coming off of a holiday. And I ate a holiday. I had a holiday eating plan, right? And so now I am back to my non-holiday eating plan. And so I started that early, right, to deal with the things that I'd eaten. Remember, fasting is a tool. And I started early because tomorrow I'm going to be hanging out with some friends, and we're going to eat. So I got my fasting in, and I did some extra in preparation for some of the things I'm going to eat. See how that works? So I tell people often that when we're dealing with metabolism and diabetes and blood sugar, it's kind of like going to the grocery store. If you go to the grocery store and you pick several items up and you run out of the store, you get arrested because you didn't pay for it. But if you go to the store and you pick those items up and you pay for them, the people in the store don't care what you bought, as long as they get their money. So the body wants you to pay for all the things that you eat, particularly those things that will affect metabolism. Right? So if you're going to eat a cookie, for example, and you exercise a cookie's worth, and let's not do cookie, because that's there's a component of the cookie that that will cause it to be a little bit more complicated. Let's say you eat a steak and you exercise a steak's worth, then nobody has anything to say to you, right? The body is satisfied because you paid for the steak. You exercised as a result of the steak. The issue is that most of us don't pay for the food that we eat. So that we eat a steak, but there's no thought about exercising or doing anything to mitigate the calories that may come from the steak. And then on top of that, we eat more food when we're snacking than we need. I think there's something like 27%, don't quote me on the number, but a large percentage of the calories that we eat are not eaten during a meal. They're eating when people are snacking. So a lot of the calories that we put in, a lot of calories that we have, a lot of the weight that we put in, has nothing to do with your main meal. It has everything to do with the excess stuff that you eat during a snack. And most people, even though they may exercise or they may do other things to mitigate the calories that they're eating for meals, they don't even think about the snacking part. And so that never comes into play in terms of, well, what do I do about this? Okay, Steve says, it was great. That's the first time I've had it in a while. So he's talking about the ribeye. And then he says, I plan to eat farm fresh eggs and bacon for breakfast to begin a 30 plus hour fast. I love it. Now, one of the things to remember is that on your non-fasting days, you can also do things that will mitigate what happens during your fasting days. I mean, during your regular eating time. What I mean by that is on my non-fasting days, during my eating windows, I still do, maybe a 16-8 fast. So that it is on my regular days, I'm still conscious of the fact of what I'm eating. Now, this is not a restriction. This is not deprivation. This is me making a decision on what I'm going to do on those days. And that's the whole concept behind balanced bites. Remember, balanced bites say that every bite that we take, every bite, is fueling our body. So we want to fuel our body with balanced food. Because the food not just gives nutrients, it also sends signals to our body. For example, when you eat a steak, and we're going to pick a silly number. Let's say you eat a 300-calorie steak. Most steaks, by the way, are more than that. Then that steak has protein. The protein comes in, the body breaks it down. The protein goes and it gets used for a myriad of things in the body, right? Not a problem. You exercise it, yeah, done. But let's say you eat a cookie that is also 300 calories. Well, the calorie part works just like the steak. The body breaks it down, the calories are used, not an issue. But the cookie also causes a rise in blood sugar. And that's where the issue comes. Because the blood sugar rises, the body produces insulin, or you have to take insulin to bring down the blood sugar. And once insulin shows up, remember, insulin is the issue. Insulin causes lots of other problems downstream. Insulin helps us or makes us put on weight, so that you fasted. Excuse me. Too much in my mouth. So you fasted and you lost weight, but you ate that cookie and insulin came out. And now anything that you eat after the cookie, there's a signal that says, hey, store this, because insulin was there. Insulin also makes you hungry. Insulin is an appetite stimulant. So now you have cravings. And so you end up eating a lot more than you would have had you not eaten the cookie. Sorry, some people say, man, I was fine until, I was great. I was avoiding carbs. I was not eating a lot of, pasta and rice and bread and potatoes. But I had that first one, and as soon as I had the first one, I wanted another, and then another, and then another, and then another. There are people who are on insulin for treatment of their diabetes. And all day they're fine. But as soon as they take their insulin at night, they start becoming ravenous. They're in the kitchen. They're in the refrigerator all the time because it's stimulating the appetite. Okay. Let's take a look at what my monitors are saying. My continuous monitors. So here is the Freestyle Libre. So it's up, I think it was 64, so now up to 67. So not a big spike. And then my Libre, let's see, it's gone from 69, 72, up to 77. So there is a spike there. Okay. All right. So that's the salad. So now we've had the bone broth, and there's still some left in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and drink that. It's a little cold now, so maybe not. And then now we get to the plate. So here's the plate, and I'm gonna choose on the plate to perhaps go for the protein. That is good. Now, everything that you see here Well, let me not say that. So the almonds, protein and carbs, and fat, by the way. Protein, carbs, fat. Protein, carbs, fat. Protein, some fat. Not a whole lot. Carbs and fat. Not a lot of protein over there. All right. So I don't anticipate to have a big change yet, but I'm going to go ahead and see what my ketones are. Let's get this plate off the... Okay, we'll push this over here. All right, let's grab a ketone strip from in here. And I won't check the blood sugar again because we're seeing what it is on the... Actually, yeah, no, let's do both. And this time I think I will use this guy. All right, so let's get a strip in. If I can get it opened. Boom. Let's get that in there. So there is strip right there. And I'm gonna go ahead and ow. Ooh. Okay. All right, so there it is. There's my drop of blood. Get that started. And then go ahead, while that's doing, I'm gonna go ahead and open my ketone. And so 75 blood sugar. And let's go ahead and get the ketone strip in. Remember, ketones were 3.8, right? Let's go ahead and get that going. And then let's see what it is. We're gonna, well, actually, let's go back there. So 3.8, so still no change. All right, so same thing as it was before. Awesome. All right, so for our fasting, remember when we break the fast, there are a lot of things that happen in the body. The body has to, because the process of fasting, there are lots of things that slow down. So when you break the fast, we want to make sure that you are introducing food that won't irritate the stomach, the GI tract, that's going to be gentle, right? So broth, which is a great idea. Thank you guys for recommending that. Now, most of the things that I have here are actually relatively benign as it comes to the GI tract when you stop fasting, right? So that's the reason I picked them. But if you sit down and you have things that are very spicy, things that are much more heavy than what you see here, then that can cause problems for some people. Now, when I break my fast, I tend to break my fast with simple things, right? So the salad that you saw, we've done it with eggs, we've done it with cheese, of course, which is here, with almonds and cashews. This is the first time I'm using sunflower seeds, right, which are right there. But hey, you gotta keep trying different things. Delicious, delicious, delicious. All right. Now, tomorrow we will continue our continue our process in this, thank you for all of you who are out there. Your comments. But tomorrow we continue our discussion as we do our review of fasting. All right, we'll talk about how to get ready for a fast, how to get through a fast, and of course how to break a fast. And you've seen me do this here. We'll talk about what are some of the recommendations, what are some of the tips, what are some of the tricks, what are things that you should be looking at, what are some concerns that you should have as you are breaking the fast. As we continue this process of reversing diabetes, I want you to remember that you have unlimited ability, unlimited potential for making changes at your fingertips. You have the ability right now at this moment to make a decision to change the trajectory of your health. What you've done in the past is the past. You've had some complications because of some decisions you've made. Yes, they are there. But right now, we're not going back there. We're not dwelling on that. We're not staying there. But we are, okay, what do we do to be successful going forward? That's the whole idea behind New Year, New You. There's a new you that we're creating, and your potential for the new you is unlimited. So right now you can make a choice. And that's built. We do that with the Triple E formula for success, which is we educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the blogs that we do, the podcast, we educate with the shows. We encourage or we empower with the tools that we learn, right? Every month we have a challenge that we go through. Make sure you are doing those. And we encourage with the community that you're a part of, where we can talk to each other, support each other, let each other know where we are, what successes we're having, what challenges, what obstacles we may be running into. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. Remember, as you're moving through this space, there are some triggers that you're going to run into. And these are given by the HEAT model. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. The habits we form, the routines that we go through. We eat when we go to the movies just because we're at the movies. We eat when people come over to visit because, right, we have muffins, we have bagels, we have some juice, we have something to drink, right? We have coffee, we have tea. Why? Because that's just what we do. There's no physiologic need for it, but that's just what we do. We eat because of access also. So things that are just around us, because they're there, we eat. And we eat because of taste. The perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat, the bliss point. When you eat one, you just can't have one. But it's not the food. It is what the food does for us. It is the calm that it seems to bring. It's the mindset that it seems to get us in. It is the memory that it brings back of that time when we had that thing with that person and we felt that way. All of that feeds into the trigger. The habits, emotions, access, and taste. Remember the pillars for reversing diabetes. We decrease insulin, we suppress the appetite, and we reduce sugar. If we do that, not only are we getting benefits for our diabetes, but all the associated metabolic issues that we run into, they improve as well. And so this goes back to answering David's question. Yes, fasting can help with cholesterol, high blood pressure, weight, fatty liver, polycystic ovarian syndrome, on and on and on and on. And remember, balanced bites, right? We fuel our bodies with balanced bites. So you should be in the mindset of being balanced every time you eat. And that's given by whole foods, right? Whole foods first. Minimize the processing in our balanced bites. No added sugar. Lean protein, healthy fats, starchy and non-starchy vegetables. It should be tasty and flavorful, and it should be appropriately portion controlled. Often it's not that we're eating the wrong thing, but we're eating too much of what we consider the right thing. When you show up in the space, come on, get into the challenge. Like I said, we have a challenge every month. That's your opportunity to practice the things that we're learning. When I talk to people in the military about how do you get someone who naturally would run from danger to all of a sudden be the person that's going towards danger, there are two things that they tell me. Number one, it's training. It's training. So there is the unskilled, untrained person. There is the practiced person. The unskilled, untrained person is a person who's just new. They don't know anything. The practice person is someone who's been there, they know the procedures, they're able to generally go through the process, but you don't send them on a mission. And then there's the trained person. This is the group, this is the platoon, this is the unit that you send out to accomplish a mission. And we always want to be in the trained process. We want to be training. So when you talk about the triggers that you have, when you talk about the things that push you, you can't in the moment decide, okay, I'm not going to eat that thing. That has to be something that comes from training. And so you need to be practicing the things that we're learning over and over and over and over again. So number one, they tell me that it has to be trained. And number two, they tell me that because they are in a unit and one person in the unit is relying on the next person and that person is relying on somebody else, all of a sudden that unit becomes one. They can become a cohesive group. Whereas one person by themselves would probably run from danger. Now we've got a unit and we're all relying on each other, and we now go towards danger. We go towards the mission. And so in this space, right, practice, 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 train, 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 and encouragement with the community. They go hand in hand. When you show up, tell your story. Let us know where you are, what successes you're having. If you're having benefits, you're losing weight, your blood sugars are better, your cholesterol has gone down, you've been taken off of certain medications because they've improved. All of those are goalposts. Those are things that you want to share with us, because when we hear that, we say, okay, well, if he can do it, if she can do it, I can do it too. And if you're having challenges, we get to come around, we get to rally around you and say, hey, you're not by yourselves or by yourself. And then invite a friend. There are over 1 billion people on the planet that suffer from diabetes and pre-diabetes, not to mention all the other metabolic diseases. And you can be a voice for change in your community. You can be a voice for change at your school, at your church, at your doctor's office, in your family. You can say, we don't have to go out like this. There's a place where we can be better, and you can be that voice that does that. Okay? Don't just send people. Come with them. Say, hey, let's go listen to these. Let's go listen to these playlists. Right? We've got the playlists that are on there. How to fast successfully. How to reverse your diabetes. Mastering diabetes. And one mini series that we did recently was the science of hunger. Because it's not often that we don't have a desire, we don't have a drive. It's not that we don't want to be metabolically healthy, but that appetite. If we can get through that appetite, if we could deal with that appetite, if we can get over the cravings. And so understanding the science behind that is very important, because it sets you up for success as you move into the future. Right? Always, 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 I'm happy to be in this space with you, with everyone who's come through, all you who have shared your information with us, those who are up with us, who are participating, telling us about eating salad and the things that you guys are eating. Thank you for being here. As always, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. We are going to be back tomorrow for our fasting review, where we talk about how to prepare for a fast, how to get through the fast successfully, and then how to break a fast. We'll be back Saturday night for Video from the Vault at 9 p.m. Central. And then Sunday morning, we'll be here This Week in Review at 6 a.m. And then next week, back in the saddle, Monday night at 7 p.m. for Dwain Woode MD Live. Remember, we've got 3 more episodes of Dwain Woode MD Live. We'll be doing our fasting check-in, so that's about 8 more, and our last show will be on the 23rd of December, and we'll be taking 2 weeks off, and then we'll be back on the 6th of January in the new year. So you want to make sure you put that on your calendar and be ready to hit the ground running as we move into the new season. Once again, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you. We'll see you at our next episode. Bye-bye, everybody.